Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. My daughter-in-law tried to kick me out. The next day she discovered the truth. Subscribe us.
I still remember the exact moment she said it. You need to leave. Her voice wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. That's what made it worse. It was calm, cold, even, as if she were asking me to pass the salt instead of telling me to pack up my life. I stood there in the kitchen, my hands still wet from washing dishes, staring at her like I hadn't heard correctly. I'm sorry, what? I asked. My daughter-in-law, Vanessa, crossed her arms, leaning against the marble counter that I had chosen myself 15 years ago. This isn't working anymore, she said flatly. You living here, it's uncomfortable for both of us. Uncomfortable, I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. She sighed as if I were being difficult. Yes, and honestly, Daniel agrees. That hit me harder than anything else. Daniel, my son, the boy I had raised alone after his father died. The boy whose scraped knees I had bandaged, whose nightmares I had soothed, whose future I had sacrificed everything to build. Agrees? I asked, my chest tightening. Vanessa didn't answer immediately. That told me everything. He thinks it might be best, she said finally. For everyone, the words echoed in my head like a cruel joke. I looked around the kitchen, the sunlight streaming through the window, the familiar hum of the refrigerator, the faint scent of coffee still lingering in the air. This wasn't just a house, this was my home. I don't understand, I said. This house is where Daniel and I are trying to build our life, she interrupted. And we need space. Space, I almost laughed. I had given them the master bedroom when they got married. I moved into the smaller room down the hall. I cooked, cleaned, helped with bills when they struggled, and now I was in the way. When do you want me to leave? I asked quietly. Vanessa didn't hesitate. Soon, a day or two maybe. A day or two, 30 years of motherhood, reduced to 48 hours. I nodded slowly, swallowing the lump in my throat. I said. She looked relieved. That hurt more than anything. That night I packed, not everything, just the essentials, clothes, a few photographs, important documents. I paused when I reached the old photo album. Daniel at 5 years old, grinning with missing teeth. Daniel at 10, holding his first trophy. Daniel at 18, hugging me tightly before leaving for college. You're my hero, Mom, he had said that day. I closed the album, my hands trembling. Somewhere along the way I had stopped being his hero. Daniel came home late that evening. I heard his footsteps in the hallway but didn't go out to greet him like I usually did. A soft knock came at my door. Voice, I took a deep breath. Come in. He stepped inside, looking uncomfortable. Guilty even. I heard you talk to Vanessa, he said. I did, I replied. A heavy silence filled the room. Mom, it's not like that, he started. Then what is it like, Daniel? I asked gently. He ran a hand through his hair, avoiding my eyes. We just need our own space, to figure things out. Always given you space, I said softly. I know, he said quickly, and I appreciate everything you've done, really, but things are different now. That word again. I'm not asking you to disappear, he added. Just maybe find your own place. I studied his face. He looked so much like his father in that moment, same eyes, same stubbornness. Okay, I said. He blinked. Okay, yes, I'll leave, washed over his face. That broke something inside me. The next morning I woke up earlier than usual. The house was quiet. For the first time in years I made breakfast only for myself. 1 cup of tea, 1 slice of toast, no extra plates. No second cup for Daniel. It felt empty. I took my time finishing, then walked into the living room. Sunlight hit the walls just right, illuminating the soft beige paint. I had picked that color. Every corner of this house held a piece of me, and yet somehow I no longer belonged. Vanessa walked in, dressed neatly as always. Morning, she said, her tone polite but distant. Good morning, I replied. She glanced at the packed bags near the door. You're already packed. Pause. Well, that's good, she said. Good, I nodded. I'll be out by noon, I told her. All right, she said, already turning away. No hesitation, no regret, just all right. At exactly 11:45 a.m., I picked up my bags. Daniel wasn't home. Vanessa stood by the doorway watching. I hope things work out for you, she said. I met her gaze. They will, I replied calmly. Then I stepped outside. I didn't go far, just down the street. I sat in my car for a long time, staring at the house, my house, the house I had bought after years of saving, the house I had paid off with sleepless nights and endless sacrifices. And yet, had just walked out of it like a stranger. I took a deep breath. It's time, I whispered to myself. The next morning at exactly 9:00 a.m. I returned, but this time I wasn't alone. A black sedan pulled up behind me. A man stepped out, adjusting his suit. Are you ready, Mrs. Carter? He asked. I said firmly. We walked to the front door together. I knocked. A few seconds later, Vanessa opened it. Her expression shifted instantly from annoyance to confusion. You're back. She said. Yes, I replied. She frowned. Why? Before I could answer, the man beside me stepped forward. Good morning, he said politely. I'm Mr. Reynolds' legal representative. Vanessa's confusion deepened. Legal what? May we come in? He asked. She hesitated, then stepped aside. Daniel came out of the bedroom moments later. What's going on? I didn't answer. Instead, Mr. Reynolds opened his briefcase and pulled out a stack of documents. I believe there's been a misunderstanding, he said calmly. Vanessa crossed her arms. What kind of misunderstanding? Mr. Reynolds adjusted his glasses. The ownership of this property, silence. What do you mean? Daniel asked. It means, Mr. Reynolds continued, that this house is legally owned by Mrs. Carter. Vanessa laughed nervously. That's not possible. Daniel owns this house. Reynolds shook his head. He does not. Daniel's face went pale. What are you talking about? I finally spoke. I never transferred the house to you, Daniel. The room went completely still. I let you believe it was yours, I continued softly, because I trusted you. Stared at me stunned. You said it would be mine someday, he whispered. And it would have been, I said, if things had been different. Vanessa's voice rose. What, you're saying we don't own this house? That is correct, Mr. Reynolds said calmly, her face flushed with anger. This is ridiculous. We live here, yes, he replied, with the owner's permission. And now, she snapped. I took a deep breath. Now that permission has changed. Stepped forward. Please, we didn't mean. I gave you everything, I said quietly. My voice didn't shake. I gave you my time, my energy, my love. I gave you this home. And when I needed respect, you asked me to leave. Filled his eyes. I'm sorry, he said. I did think. No, I interrupted gently. You didn't. Vanessa scoffed. This is insane. Seriously going to throw us out? I looked at her, calm, steady. The words hung in the air, heavy. Final, you have 1 week, I said, to find another place. Vanessa's jaw dropped. You can't do that. I can, I replied. And I am. Looked between us, torn. Mom, please don't do this. I softened slightly. This isn't revenge, Daniel, I said. This is a consequence. A week later, the house was quiet again, truly quiet, no tension, no cold glances, no unspoken resentment. Just peace. I stood in the living room, taking it all in. For the first time in a long time, it felt like home again. Daniel came by that evening alone. I found a place, he said quietly. I'm glad, I replied. He hesitated. I messed up. I didn't respond immediately. I let things get in my head, he continued. I should have stood up for you. Yes, I said softly. You should have. He nodded, tears in his eyes. Can you ever forgive? Looked at him. The same boy I had raised, the same man who had hurt me. I already have, I said. Relief flooded his face. Forgiveness, I added gently, doesn't mean things go back to the way they were. He nodded slowly. I understand. He left. I felt something shift inside me, not sadness, not anger, but strength. For years I had lived for others, sacrificed for others, given everything to others. But now it was time to live for myself. And this time, no one was going to take that away.